This is Ian Cameron for Sportsbook Review with your college basketball play of the day for Thursday, March 9th. We had a easy winner last night. Rutgers outright as an underdog, beating Ohio State in the Big Ten tournament. We're not going as high profile tonight with the play of the day. Far from it. We are going to a very, very small conference, the Big Sky Conference tonight, and it's the late night West Coast, I don't know, bailout special. Do they still call it that, these late night games? But it's an 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific tip. It's the Southern Utah Thunderbirds taking on the Weber State Wildcats. We have Weber State, a massive favorite in this game, 13-point favorite. This game taking place in Reno, Nevada. Total in this game sitting at 158. And Weber State has been the class of this conference, one of the top teams in the Big Sky. Weber State for the last several years. Them and Montana for years have been, the dominant teams in this conference. But this is not, to me, a vintage Weber State team. Not even close to it. I mean, 12-6 in the conference. It's still a good record, but it's not quite to the, the quality that we're used to seeing from this Weber State team. And the thing that concerns me about Weber State here, coming into this Big Sky tournament matchup here, is they've been just an absolute disaster point spread wise. 1-9 against the spread in their last 10 games. They're 2-12 ATS in their last 14 games overall, all of them taking place in the Big Sky. This has just been an overvalued point spread commodity, and if you've been riding betting against Weber State game in and game out throughout the Big Sky Conference season, you've done quite well. They've been an overvalued commodity. You look at them laying points, it hasn't been pretty. I mean, pretty much all of these games, they've been favored. Their 1-point spread cover in their last 10 games, 7-point favorite at home against Montana State. They only won by 9. So they barely covered the number in the 1-point spread cover they got. Every other game in their last 10, they did not get the point spread cover. Most of those as chalk. So this is a very tough team, I think, to lay 13 points with here in this game. Now, I know Southern Utah was one of the worst teams in this conference throughout the season. I mean, just a terrible conference mark, 4-15 conference record for Southern Utah. They rely very heavily on one guy for the majority of their offense. There is no denying that. Not a great basketball team. I'm not trying to say Southern Utah is, but I cashed a ticket with Southern Utah the other night. I thought they were getting a few too many points against Montana State. 10-point underdog. They were down huge in that game at halftime, and I thought, oh boy, this is going to be a dead wrong side. They're probably going to just get, pack it in, call it a season. A bad team, down by, I think, 13 points at halftime. My thought was my chances aren't good, because usually when a bad team falls behind that big at halftime, they don't have that resolve. They don't have that fight. They don't have that will to keep on going and try to make a comeback. But lo and behold, Southern Utah changed that theory a little bit. They did have the resolve, they did have the will, and they did battle back all the way back to take a lead in that game. It eventually goes to overtime, 3 overtimes, triple overtime, before Southern Utah finally prevails with a 109-105 victory over Montana State to advance to this game against Weber State. Now, there's no doubt, from a physical standpoint, there's concerns with Southern Utah. I'm not trying to sugarcoat it and, sweep it under the rug and say there isn't. I mean, when you talk about 3 guys, 3 of their best players playing over 50 minutes in that win against Montana State in triple overtime, we're talking about Randy Unwasser. I think is their best player, 43 points, 53 minutes, though, of court time. John Marshall, 51 minutes. James McGee, 51 minutes. There's no doubt that's a concern, when you're playing just 2 days later. But it could have been worse. They could have been playing yesterday. What if this is one of those tournaments where you don't have a day off in between games? At least Southern Utah got that. They were off their feet yesterday following that triple overtime marathon game. Maybe it's a chance to refuel, replenish themselves, get off their feet, get some much needed rest in their system. So I think, based on the fact they had the day off yesterday, this is going to be a fresher basketball team following a triple overtime game than maybe some other teams would be in this kind of situation. And it is worth noting, when you look at the recent series history between Southern Utah and Weber State, from a point spread perspective, Southern Utah's had the better of it. Southern Utah 4-1 against the spread against Weber State in the last 5 head-to-head meetings. They played once earlier this season on Weber State's home court. Yeah, it was a 16-point win for Weber State, 90-74, but it was Southern Utah that got the money as an 18-point underdog. We don't need Southern Utah to win this game. And obviously you worry about a crash. If they fall behind big in this game, is that physical, mental energy going to be there to come back tonight like it was against Montana State? No doubt that's a concern, and I've considered that before pulling the trigger on this bet, but I like the character, and I've seen this too many times. Bad team all season throughout the conference slate. They get a little confidence. I really like that mentality that they did not give up on that game against Montana State when they were down double digits at halftime. I think that there's some adrenaline that kicks in for this team here. That's going to fuel them. You know, you can talk about fatigue all you want, but adrenaline sometimes trumps fatigue. Confidence sometimes trumps fatigue. And I think adrenaline plus confidence is going to equal a point spread winner here with Southern Utah tonight as a big underdog against Weber State. Let's make it official. Southern Utah. I'm going to try to go for a second straight cash with them tonight. Southern Utah, the Thunderbirds, plus 13, rotation number 809. The Southern Utah Thunderbirds plus 13 against Weber State. Let's see if this is maybe the start of a potential Cinderella on our hands here in the Big Sky Conference. They don't have to win this game. Maybe they won't, but I do think they hang within this inflated number, and Weber State has been just dreadful, especially as favorites throughout the conference season, and I think they may struggle to win this one by the margin that's required to cash for their backers. Let's go with Southern Utah, plus 13, play of the day in college basketball for Thursday, March the 9th. All right, that'll wrap it up. I am Ian Cameron for Sportsbook Review. Until next time, enjoy the games and good luck.
We hope you enjoyed the video. Hey, don't miss out on the best basketball betting content available on YouTube. Click our logo button on the bottom left to subscribe. And as always, guys, give us a like and drop your comments below because we want to hear from you. Visit our website to take advantage of all our free products.